Hello and welcome to Automox's CISO IT podcast. I'm your host, Jason Kikta. And today we have a special return guest, Rich Casselberry, the VP of IT Security at AT&I. And today we're going to talk about some of his thoughts that he put into a paper called the CISO Blueprint, which is how to build strong security from strong IT practices. Rich, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me back on. I'm always amazed when I get a second invite. So excited to get a chance to chat with everybody again.
Well, it turned out you're more popular than I am, so they demanded that I bring you back. So that was a pretty easy choice. But the first thing I wanted to talk to you about is one of your quotes in the paper that resonated with me because I've always been a huge believer in this. This has been a mantra of mine, is that, the answer from security can't always be no. It can be, have you thought about it? Or that is incredibly risky, and here's why. And sometimes the answer is that'll put us out of compliance or in violation with the law. But, the answer isn't no. And I really like that resonated with me. And I was wondering if you could, talk through some examples that you've seen over the years or reasons why you feel like that's such an important principle.
Yeah, definitely. It is one of those sort of underlying beliefs for me, right? I worked for a CIO a number of years ago, and when he first came on board, he said, IT can't say no. Like, whatever the request is, the answer can't be no. And if the answer really is no, then you need to bring me in, you need to explain to me why the answer is no. And so a week after that, one of the engineers came to me and said, Rich, I get a request. You're going to think it's really stupid, but hear me out before you say no. Okay, I can't say no. I can't say no, right? So he's like, this is years ago, back when the iPad first came out. And he was building a network management platform on the iPad. But because we didn't allow non-domain machines to connect to the wired network, he wanted to plug in an access point with no authentication and no requirements for certificates. And I just want to be able to plug and I'm thinking, God, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, there's no way I want to do that. And I waited and I let him finish. And he explained what he was doing. And instead of giving him a rogue AP that anybody in range could have connected to, we ended up creating him a separate VPN tunnel that allowed this particular device, particular user, to log in and gave them only access to the lab network that they needed. So he loved it. It was a skunkworks project, so job plus. So he was working Saturdays and Sundays trying to get this working. He's like, this is great because now I can at least do it from home. I don't need to drive into the lab and sit next to the AP. And he sort of went from somebody who, frankly, would have gone and just bought an access point anyway. That's what we made at the time. So him coming to me was a favor more than anything. But because we didn't say no, because we thought about what he was trying to do, we gave him a better way from his perspective and a better way from a security perspective. And so ever since then, I've always been a big fan of you either got to come up with a solution, you got to explain the reason why. Right, to your point, sometimes the answer is if you don't do this, you will go to jail. That typically ends a conversation pretty quickly. Not me, right? We had another case where we were talking to finance and budget seasons. Finance always has great discussions. And they came to me and they said, hey, this EDR thing, I don't know what it is, but it's pretty expensive and we would like to get rid of it. Can we do that? And I said, absolutely, of course, right? You can get rid of anything in the security budget. Yeah, you can get rid of anything you want, right? I'd rather you cut me, but again, it's a preference. I said, but let me walk through what that EDR thing does. EDR thing, right? In the past year, I can show you where it has stopped 11 ransomware attacks. The average ransomware attack is 980,000 at the time, right? So you can totally get rid of that couple $100,000 line item, but you got to give me 10 million to cover the ransom costs that we're now going to have. Next item, right? But again, no wasn't the answer.
No, I think that's a fantastic illustration of, everything has trade-offs. And, I think when you put the, sometimes as security professionals, if you just put the trade-off to them explicitly, and like that's what they needed to get them over the perception hump of like, is this a good idea or is this maybe maybe ill-advised? The other quote that you had in there that I really appreciate was, you said that, talking about your automation journey, that you're far enough along that you don't press buttons for the most point. We have systems that patch things. 90% of systems just patch, which is a great place to be because now I can free up a person to verify the tools are working effectively. And what I found is I don't think that people have, maximum automation, right? You never reach 100%. Uh, but there's people who have maximum automation and then people who have no automation. It's sort of people who like I don't think that's the playing field of or the state of things. My perception is you have people who have a lot of incidental automation of they've bought automation in a few cases, they've kind of sought it out, but it's there. They don't really think about it. They don't think about automation as a strategy, and so things that are automated just happen to be automated, or they bought it because they've seen other people. But and then there's the people who deliberately pursue automation and say, "Hey, I'm gonna selectively use my human time for the things that I really care about." Is that how you see the breakdown and think about it, or do you think there's another category I'm missing? Or
No, I think you're right. I think there's that whole group of accidentally automated, right? The
yep,
tool came with it.
yeah,
I didn't mean to.
accidentally
Uh,
automated. I love that.
but but I mean, for us, we're purposely automated as much as we can, right? Because it frees up our time to focus on the things that we can't automate, right? Not all of our systems can automatically patch, but the 90% that can, I don't have to think about them. They
Yeah,
just get done when the Wall Street Journal publishes a new attack that everybody should worry about. Like I don't have to react because I know like it's
right.
dropping on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It'll be fully patched by Tuesday, whatever the numbers are. But it just lets me focus my energy and my team's energy on things that actually provide significant value.
No, that makes all the sense in the world, and I think it's probably I'm not even going to say probably. It's a very underappreciated thing that because I think the world has so many people who are accidentally automated that they don't realize what they're missing out on or the opportunity cost, right? Just like with can we get rid of our EDR, like the opportunity cost of that they're missing out on, or in that case kind of the opposite of an opportunity cost, the inevitable painful outcome. Those are the parts that I think just not as well understood as we would hope.
Yeah, my favorite is when people say they don't have time to automate. Like,
Yeah.
really? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because if you spend the time to automate, you would find you have a lot more time than you really think. It's getting people to believe that it worked. And I don't know why we have to convince people that automation is believable, but we still run across them, right?
Yeah, I think that the I don't have time to automate thing always feels to me very similar to when you're trying to like mentor someone to be a better manager or a better leader, and they say like, oh well, I don't have time to delegate the task because I can do it faster than I can delegate it to someone. It's like true, but then you are never developing people who can help you carry that load, and you will always be behind because you will always be doing everything yourself, right? And to me it's that's true on the people side, and it's yes, automation to sit down and automate something takes longer than doing it once. However, chances are good you're going to do it more than once.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Totally.
yeah. Well, Rich, thanks for coming on the show today. Really appreciate seeing you, and really enjoyed reading everything in the that you said in the report. It gave me a lot of food for thought. So please come back again sometime, and uh, to the audience out there, thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thanks all.
Thanks.